Welcome to Overnight Success, the podcast where we celebrate the incredible journeys of entrepreneurs and visionaries. While there's no such thing as true overnight success, hearing their stories of determination, persistence, and resilience can inspire us all. Presented by Draper University and hosted by Joannou.
I want to quickly mention that none of this is investment advice or financial advice, trading advice, or any sort of advice. And we do not recommend any cryptocurrency or investing in any projects. We're just showcasing the stories of founders.
Hey, Seb, welcome to the show, my friend. How you doing?
All great, thank you.
I'm very excited to hear your story today and the story of Sandbox. But generally, at the beginning, I like to go back a little bit, get a little bit of understanding of for the audience about who is Seb, how did you get here, what were you doing before you started working on the Sandbox? And so I'm happy for you to take it back as far back as your first kind of entrepreneurial adventure or your education, whichever you prefer.
Yeah, well, in a nutshell, so I'm 39 years old, father of two kids, and I've been an entrepreneur now for 16 years. So my dates back from 2007. Actually, back then I was doing an exchange program in Hong Kong at the Chinese University of Hong Kong, where I got in touch with my business partner, Arthur Madrid, who was then in France and working on his first startup using one first application of decentralization, a startup that used BitTorrent and peer-to-peer to deliver high-quality video on demand for like sport event and the TV channels and video on demand. And when I came back to France after that exchange program, I started working with him. It was a great collaboration. We sold the company just a few months or a year later. We started a new startup together, this time around Web 2 and allowing users to share their photo, video, and music in the cloud and access them from anywhere. A company that also was successful and we sold a few years later. And then in 2011, we co-founded the first mobile game studio that was free to play and use IPs. And that's from where actually the Sandbox franchise started on. Back then it was a mobile game. We introduced it in 2012, just a 2D game where people could create their content and share it into an online gallery. And so it was the beginning of user-generated content, the beginning of this idea of like, I can make my own games just by the touch of my finger. It grew rapidly in success. And since then, it's been already 12 years that we work on Sandbox. In 2017, we started to work on a new version, this time with blockchain and NFT. At the core, it was really solving a problem that we saw the creators encounter. Like we were not able to offer like a portion of the revenue that the creator brought through their content in the game because of platform limitation, like Apple Store, App Store, and Google Play Store. And blockchain was a way to enable creators to truly own the character, the content they make, monetize it on Sandbox, but also outside on external marketplaces. And it's been a very interesting journey for the past 5 years already, building this platform, collaborating with Animoca Brands, since we sold that company, that game studio in 2018 to Animoca Brands, and have been part of the group since then. And like trying to really push and promote for the idea of the open metaverse, onboarding a large ecosystem of brands and partners in Sandbox, while also succeeding various land sale and launching products like our 3D editor, Vox Edit, our no-code game maker, the map, and various experiences. Which leads to today, where we have a lot of regular updates. Like we release constantly new version of the tools. The game maker has been recently updated to enable a lot of more creative possibilities. Like we are really creator driven. That's the core of Sandbox community and value proposition. And that has enabled them to now make experiences that are more multiplayer, that involve audio and video streaming, a lot of great visual effects and aesthetic improved, even still using voxel, but you can feel the quality year to year is improving largely, and the fun as well. And last July, we had a major milestone. After 5 years, like we opened self-publishing to already over 100 experiences, and we'll soon open it to everyone. Meaning that if you're one of the 25,000 unique landowners in Sandbox, you will be able to publish your experience on the map, allow anyone to access it with their avatar, play around, and you can begin engaging and monetizing your communities as well from there. So really bringing the metaverse full UGC starting this year.
Absolutely, man. That's you've done. I can just drop the mic now. I think we're done, but I need to go back a little bit. I need to get some of the detail here, right? Because just so many incredible things you've just mentioned, right? And I do want to just kind of highlight the audience is perhaps the entrepreneur too, and the Web3 kind of entrepreneur, I'd say as well. We do a lot with helping accelerate startups and stuff in this space. Can I go back a little bit to where, let's say, so there was Pixels to start, right? And you were kind of pioneers in the gaming space. Is that where you started to develop a lot of these kind of relationships with some of these cool brands that you have on board for Sandbox? How did that kind of evolve where everyone wants to work with you?
I think it's really a part of the journey. Look, as an entrepreneur, you try to take on the experience you've acquired through the different startups, and you apply it because that's really the value here that you've been building over the years. And typically in mobile gaming, we found, in gaming in general, I think we've seen before, console game, PC game, as soon as they had a brand, a big IP or franchise behind, sales were generally through the top, etc. And somehow that strategy you found already on console and PC game, it wasn't applied that much yet on mobile. The first game that really succeeded in that was Simpson Tap Out. I don't know if for those of you who are familiar, it was a city builder featuring the IP of Simpson and the very famous characters from there. And then it became a thing where the top grossing title, I think 80% of it was from games featuring already major IPs there. And the reason why is players are already familiar with the characters, with the stories, and they want to live new adventures engaging with those characters. So it's easier for marketing, for user acquisition, for monetization, because you don't need to build from the ground up those characters or story. The brand has already done that for decades sometimes. And it also allows to target based on different niche audience. Some brands are family friendly, some are for more adults who action heroes or horror movies and so on. Typically at Sandbox, at Pixel back then, and we were making two kinds of games. One is Sandbox, and we brought indeed IPs. We brought Pac-Man, Shrek, Ghostbuster, and they were exciting collaboration where people could make their own mini game, their own level featuring these IPs. And then we also created city builders with Snoopy, Garfield, Addams Family, and Goosebumps. So yes, I've already had for past 6-7 years running the studio, experience working with IPs, crafting new stories. But also we were limited in this user-generated content side. We felt everyone wants to create this dream world, that the world of their imagination, bring it to life, featuring their favorite characters. But IPs were applying a very strict control and not understanding yet fully the idea of empowering the creator economy could also be beneficial to them. Because people already do that anyway on YouTube, on TikTok, they take their favorite content, they mix it and they remix it. Today, IPs are more mature, and we've been able to position and evolve Sandbox to not just do single IP collaboration. Yes, we still do that. Now we can do game jams, allowing creative competition where the community participate with creating games and experience with official NFTs, officially licensed NFTs that they own, so they can take from the IP and publish on their own land. But the exciting thing is it really became this sort of theme park. Think of it almost, and that's what you can see behind me. We've been able to embrace, in Web3, this idea of collaboration among brands, co-creation with communities, and not trying to have every IP in a silo, but create world and experience part of that Web3 culture where you feature each other IPs. You can co-create your land with as many IP as you want, including your own content. And because we also launch avatar collections from various brands and IP, we already successfully sold out 16 collections: Steve Aoki, Snoop Dogg, Paris Hilton, Gordon Ramsay, more recently Cut the Rope, Rabbits, We have Elvis Presley avatar collection going on right now. That also create a world with a lot of mixed content because you meet players all around as you engage into an experience. It's very social and you see those avatars. So you have a fun seeing a rabbit running around next to Steve Aoki and Snoop Dogg, someone with his Snoop Dogg is doing a little dance and so on. And then you chat together, you become friends. And we also created various incentive and rewards. If you play with a specific avatar into the experience from the brand, for example, right now there is a Cut the Rope event running. If you own a Cut the Rope avatar, Omnom, very cool creative collection, and you play into this social hub inspired by the universe of it, and you can earn reward as well. So it's been a recipe for success that everyone, players, creators, and the brand love. And I think that's really where we've been stepping in and utilizing this experience we've accumulated over the year to apply it to Sandbox in the best way as possible.
Can I ask, like, those conversations right early on must have been challenging? Oh, I don't want my IP next to your IP. I mean, how did you kind of, was the pitch just around the decentralized bit? Or, I mean, imagine eventually it becomes like a snowball and everyone just gets that it's going to be fabulous. But in the beginning,
absolutely. I remember the very first IP we brought, it took us over a year of like conversation. We brought the Care Bears and then the Walking Dead, etc. But it took a long time, not because they didn't like the idea of these neighborhoods on the map. They love it. Like it's a reproduction of the physical world. Actually, brands love to be next to each other. There is a very simple business principle. You put one restaurant in the street or you put 20 restaurants in the street. Actually, it works much better because it brings more audiences. So in the metaverse and in the map of Sandbox as well, creating and curating neighborhoods by thematics. Like recently, we had Infinite Pulse around music, and then we had Warner Music next to various DJs and music genres. And that was a very successful land sale, and everyone wanted to be in it. And we also have like regional and cultural neighborhoods like Koreaverse, mega cities that represent Hong Kong and Greater China culture. And that also sell out, like bringing brands on different thematic this time, but from a specific region of the world. So the two, like actually it's very beneficial and it's a snowball effect. Once you have a big partner into a thematic or region of the world, it brings many more. However, back in 2018, brands didn't know what is Web3. They didn't know what is an NFT. They were not so keen to explore this world, and there was a lot of misconceptions. Like brand didn't have like a head of Metaverse, a head of Web3 marketing, didn't have a strategy. So a lot of them did it, unfortunately, not the right way, like launching a drop of an NFT collection with some like artists or content, but no long-term value for the holders. Like they didn't understand that this is a new media, it's a new platform that requires content, engagement, live ops to make sure that these micro communities of holders are being taken care of and can be used as a way for the brand to engage a new relationship with the fans, with the audience. So at Sandbox, we talk actually not about but ORM, like ownership relation management. We have account managers that work with a top brand, and we have an ecosystem program where we have been onboarding 212 agencies around the world to better educate about the benefit of Web3, about the benefit of being present in Sandbox, and like launching a presence in the metaverse, launching an NFT collection is having your audience create a wallet. It's a way to be able, it's a new channel that you can re-engage in the future, both with virtual or digital activation or physical activation. And that's something that brands understand very well, because in Web2, they lost control of the data of the users. They don't have the way to reach on social media. They build large audiences on social media. They put content, they get likes. Like the value of a like can be discussed, like it's a very low engagement and low quality kind of relationship. And then they have to pay the platform whenever they want to push to their audience an announcement, a new product, their message, their brand value. With Web3, they own the users own their wallets, and they own via the wallet address the link because they can know the whose NFTs they own, etc. So they own a more direct link to address their audience. And so they have to build up progressively again those user base and deliver value to them. And that's, I think, that a lot of the 700 brands we have, 400 brands we have brought in Sandbox, around the world, including specifically in Asia. Asia represents 40% of the business of Sandbox now. So we have brands from K-pop music labels, banks, but of course, entertainment with fashion and music celebrities and media as well. They've done successfully to engage. And some success story range from Steve Aoki launching in Sandbox, or Ledger launching Expand Sandbox, Paris Hilton launching and engaging hundreds of thousands of fans, Snoop Dogg, obviously, but also more local examples like MTR or PCCW, the Hong Kong telecom operator and group, or McDonald's Hong Kong recently launched an experience in Sandbox where people could enjoy, celebrate in social moments the 40th anniversary of McNuggets and earn NFTs, earn rewards. So it was the first step for them to create more cultural activation and future engagement to that communities.
I want to dig in definitely onto like kind of what you're seeing from a brand perspective and how their approach to the metaverse has changed over time. You talked about the NFT collections and some people kind of screwing that up and thinking maybe it's more of a revenue stream rather than kind of like the long-term value, as rightly pointed out. But if I could just go back a little bit, when you're making this decision to move from the Web 2 version of Sandbox to Web 3, right? Was it that you mentioned the Apple bit and the focus on the creator. Was it also that you just loved the promise of Web 3? Can you just talk about what was going through? Because it is a big move, right? Yeah.
It is. It's definitely a big step up for many brands. And that's what the value that Sandbox brings is like educating them and also like having a platform that they can already access right now. So they can play with a creation tool, Game Maker, with Vox Edit. They can play live experiences on the map, try by themselves what it is to create your avatar totally for free, to experience those events, to complete quests. And I think like we are very attached to provide like immediate utility for the content that the brands are launching. We also work very closely with the brand, either ourselves or via the agency, to create the relevant activation and immersive activation. So it's not reproducing what Second Life was doing 25 years ago. It takes on like the universe, it builds around very creative design, and it's not aimed at monetizing. Basically, we don't sell physical goods or merch, etc. This is too early. It's a lot about experimentation, getting closer, being relevant to the new audience, specifically Gen Zs. They have a harder time to reach out Gen Zs who spend 12 hours a week in virtual world rather than reading media, watching TV, and so on. And like positioning themselves toward this creative and creator environment as well, since we know that more than 75% of Gen Z wants to become creator, not just be passive and consume the same content as everyone. So having very customized, personalized experience, heavily social in creative environment where you own your data and you can use it to create and expand the presence of the brand, or somehow because you play with the avatar from a celebrity or a brand, you also promote it into the metaverse, into other people's experiences. I think those are some of the key points that Sandbox provide and the brands love. Also, we are a platform that's very open and collaborative. I see Web3 as a network effect in Web3, and collaboration around different projects is essential and is a win-win toward the growth of the ecosystem. So even if they launch activation NFT somewhere else, we can actually, through interoperability, recognize those NFT and give them or turn them into character in Sandbox or give them different benefits so that they have more things that they can offer to their community in terms of engagement. And the UGC value proposition of Sandbox is definitely strong and appealing. And I think that's why many brands are loving Sandbox in general and working with us.
Amazing. Final question. I really appreciate your time, Seb. It sounds like you're going deeper now into the kind of the creator empowerment, I suppose, with the publishing for landowners. Can you just quickly talk about that and what's coming up next?
Absolutely. Well, since last July 12, we've made a big announcement. We opened the map, and any landowner can now publish directly their experience page and make it accessible to new audiences, starting to engage community and potentially monetize them. We're seeing already in just a month over 100 experiences pages that are live, great diversity of content. It's amazing to see like what people are launching. We weren't even aware of some projects. And we hope by the end of the year to reach already 1,000 experiences live. So very excited by the content that will is being in production, specifically as the game maker tool keep being upgraded almost every month with new features that empower those creators. And we are also working towards the opening of the marketplace, minting their own NFTs, their own collections. So it will be a direct link to monetization in Q3 this year. And finally, we also recently teased some video footage of the mobile version of Sandbox that runs already on iOS and Android. It's not yet meant for public release, but it gives a great overview of what 2024 will look like once people can play all across like any device on Sandbox.
Seb, thank you for your time. Really love the vision, love what you're doing, and yeah, best of luck with everything in future, my friend.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the interview. I'd love to follow up in a couple of months once we are live and we're seeing thousands of experiences on the map to keep sharing about that journey, that fantastic journey. I really believe Sandbox is a platform that will keep onboarding creator and being present for more than 10, 20 years, just like all the major, all the platform and virtual world. And so if you've been listening to this interview today, I invite you to try Sandbox, create your avatar, maybe try Game Maker. It's all free, and hopefully that inspires you to create something in the metaverse.
Absolutely. Thanks, Seb. Cheers, buddy.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Overnight Success. We hope you enjoyed hearing from our guests and learning about their inspiring journeys. If you found this episode helpful, please subscribe and share it with your friends. And remember, with hard work and dedication, anything is possible.